What's up, everybody? It's Claudio here, and we are going out to Long Island to the Merrick Criterium for the 4-5 race. I went last week for the first time. Had some trouble with the cornerings. I feel like towards the end of it, though, I kind of got the hang of it. Watched some videos, got a lot of comments from you guys about how to corner, how to stay tight, lean the bike over, all that good stuff. So hopefully I can put those tips to use and not get dropped, at least make it towards the end of the race. That's my goal. Hopefully I can make it with a group. I think I have the fitness, but it's just a technical thing at this point that I'm missing. Most of my training has been indoors, so I'm missing a lot of that bike handling for the past month. Haven't been racing a lot since Green Mountain Stage Race, but today I have confidence. I'm gonna go out there and get it. Let's do this. Good boy. Brent. Good boy. Okay, bye, Brent. Good boy. Good boy. All right, so this is the start of the race. And this race doesn't take off like a rocket. You know how some races, not like Zwift races or some of these crits, they really shoot off, but this one doesn't. Pretty chill, starting around 20 miles an hour. So these turns are not hard at this speed. But I definitely, I'm holding my line here much better than last week. For those of you who don't know, here are my stats. Age 36, 153 pounds, FTP is 242, 3.5 watts per kilo. My max heart rate is somewhere around 187, 190, and 7 hours a week on the bike. The number is going up slowly. I'm on trainer road. So we're coming up on the second turn, which gave me a lot of problems last week. I'm just going way too wide and not holding the line here. I'm holding it just fine. Again, we're not up to speed yet. But that is the first lap. Pretty mellow. And the wind, I believe we have a headwind here. Do we? Let's see. Let's look at the flag. Yeah, headwind. All right, so let's take a look at some of these turns. I didn't ride outside at all. So all of my improvements are all mental. I looked it up, a lot of videos on how to turn, and really you press down on the handlebars in a direction. So here I'm pressing down on my right side and I'm leaning the bike over and I'm getting low. My center of gravity is low. The faster you go. Okay, this is the only turn that I missed. I got spooked out. If you rewind, somebody kind of swerved and threw me off my line, and that's pretty extreme, But whatever, I recovered it and it was fine. But that's the only one that I missed. And here, holding the line just fine. Still, sometimes you gotta surge. I hit 700 watts there. I didn't really need to. But that's the idea. Here's at 25, holding it just fine. I might have tapped my brakes here and there on that turn. I remember I was still a little sketched out, going to speed and being so close to everybody, and I tapped my brakes several times, and I was like, I totally didn't need to do that. So here are the turns coming again. I could hold it better, but it's fine. It'll do. It's definitely huge improvement from last time. This is when it gets scary. This is when I really tap my brakes, when I have people all around me, and you have to get used to that. Turning at speed with everybody around you, you have to hold your line, and your skills need to be totally on point. So that's where I am. And in this race, I was able to sit in just fine. I was off the back for a while, which sucked because, you know, it's you get this accordion effect where you're just surging and you don't know what's going up at the front really, and it's just not the funnest place to be unless you're strategically back there. But you know, I was in there and I didn't feel like at any point I was really going to get dropped, and it was all because I just turned my bike better. I figured it out. This week was my rest week also. On Trainer Road, I'm doing one of the plans. I'm doing the mid-volume, the cyclocross plan. Because I'm trying to get into some cyclocross races, which is basically very similar to a criterium plan. It's just a lot of VO2 max efforts, a lot of intervals, some longer intervals, FTP type intervals, but a lot of like surging. So it works just fine for this kind of racing. But anyways, this is my rest week, so all my workouts were zone 2, which is I noticed that my heart rate was higher for this race. Like it didn't. Usually I can hang out when I'm sitting in. I'm like around 150, but sitting in was at this race I was in the 160s. So I don't know if it was maybe this race or it was just because I didn't do any really high intensity intervals throughout the week. So that is where my training is right now. Here's an example of one of the workouts. They all have these names, and this one is an hour and a half interval workout. It's basically 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off. The ons are at 120% of my FTP, and this is just VO2 max. Getting used to recovering, which is recovering with little time, which is really important in criterium. And what you do is you get a smart trainer and you put it in erg mode, which means that the computer, the program, your tablet, like the Trainer Road software controls your trainer, and you never have to change gears. You just put it wherever you want. Make sure you're not cross-chaining, and then when it's time to do the hard intervals, the trainer will get more difficult, right? There's more resistance on it. Anyways, it's like so easy. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to change gears, and it's very accurate. I feel like it's a very efficient way to work out and to train. It's definitely going to come in handy in the winter. I'm going to be all over it. And they have all kinds of like training plans, and you can also do individual workouts on your own. So it's pretty helpful. So again, I'm sitting in, and I'm trying to draft, trying not to get gapped. My heart rate is creeping up there, but I'm not suffering really yet. I'm suffering when I'm hitting 175 to 180. Let's see how I take this turn. Yeah, see, I'm still a little glitchy, but I'm not. I lost a wheel, so that wasn't great. I'm still losing a few positions. When the speed goes up, I'm still a little glitchy, and it's not easy to hold a wheel on a turn above 26 miles an hour. It gets increasingly more difficult because every little movement of your handlebars will cause like a bigger effect. So you got to keep it steady, and you got to stay strong. So looking forward to next year. I already signed up for the New York Grand Fondo. Never done it. It goes up Bear Mountain. A lot of climbing. That's going to be fun. I'm going to train for it. Like legit, probably through Trainer Road, they have, the Fondo, the Grand Fondo training plans. And just to get your endurance to be able to do 100 miles and with that much climbing. And of course, I'm going to go out there and ride that course a bunch of times, or at least do the climb. So New York Grand Fondo, and in November, looks like I'll be able to do a few cyclocross races. Just got into it. Super technical. I'm hoping it's really gonna bump my technique up. It never gets really above 15 miles an hour. Maybe on the straights you can hit above 15, but you're not. You're just turning a whole bunch. You're jumping off your bike. You're carrying your bike. You're running a little bit. You are. It's a very. It feels very intense. I went to a few practices that they have at Randall's Island on Wednesday nights, and they teach you some technique, and they set up a course, and you do these. They call them hot laps, where you basically race, like practice race laps at speed, and a lot of fun. But man, it's really hard to stay with the people that are experienced. They really know how to choose the right line and save speed. Because what I'm doing is every turn I'm hitting the brakes and then I'm sprinting out of it, and it's totally not the way you're supposed to. And you gotta ride your speed. Same with all this. Really should not. No one should be tapping their brakes at this race. Like, there's no reason. I tapped them here and there, but there's just no reason why do you need to slow down, right? It's unless you're gonna crash. But here, people, I remember, like here, I'm slowing down. Definitely, I had to slow there. And now we were down to 19 on the turn. That's what sucks about the back. You get this slow down effect because somebody in the middle kind of starts to slow down, and the person behind them taps the brake, and then it builds up, and then you surge. So the back is no good. I really next week is going to be the final one, and I'm going to really try to not hang out on the back as much. Now that I have more confidence in these turns, I'm going to stay in the middle or towards the top 10. At least feel that, what it's like. So cyclocross it's very interesting. I don't have the hang of it at all. I'm assuming it's going to be really fun when you actually learn how to ride it. But I'm looking forward to a few races. I'm definitely going to post them. But it's a whole nother beast. I got a cyclocross bike, the Cannondale Super X. Really sweet. You can use it for gravel riding and just outdoor trail riding as well. All right, so this race, basically this is what happens the whole race. I don't think that there was a breakaway. I think maybe one or two people tried to go up, but it got brought back and just ended up in a field sprint. No crashes, nothing too exciting. But this is it. This is what happens when you learn to turn your bike. You can actually sit in and race like this. It's so much of it is technique. You don't notice it, but the people the people at the front, they're either very strong, or they have really good technique, or both. And that's what it takes. You can't be wasting watts like I did last week. Even that little surge right there, like, the people at the front are not doing that. They're just riding through that, keeping the speed, and they're not having to hit 600-700 watts every time out of a turn. So that's the importance of being more up front and not being in the back. So I was able to sit in. I finished I didn't really sprint with the group, but they were like in front of me. So I lasted for sure. Not like last time. I got dropped like I think maybe 25 minutes into it. I was so bad. Here I'm almost getting gapped. Maybe this is a danger moment for me. Not really. But I see that. I call it a danger moment when my heart rate is up there, like I'm about to hit 180, and I'm off the back. You can see some riders getting gapped behind me. And they might be in danger. And so it always just comes back, you know. Maybe this race was not as aggressive, I can't tell. But it was definitely easier to sit in. Alright guys, so I'll be back next week for the final race of the season, final road race, final crit. Hopefully it'll be exciting. And thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts about any of this, any tips. You know, I love hearing what you guys think. Thanks again, and I'll see you out there. Peace.